Alright guys, so now for our sub. So this is really where the spider guard starts to shine. As I was saying in the intro, the spider guard, if you are in the spider guard position, you are basically halfway into a sub. A lot of what you do from your closed guard mimics, like the whole setup for the sub before you snap closed on it, is all mimicking what you'd be looking for from what you'd have in spider guard. So we're going to start, and this can work from both feet or knees. It's up to you what you want to do with your partner, or however you set up. It takes very little adjustment, but we'll go through some variations. So the first one is going to be the triangle. We'll do a sort of a quick fire one and a very basic one. So it's very similar to our punch pull position from our white belt curriculum. So, same this way. So closed guard. So again, we're going to set up the position. Hip out, feet to the hips, create a little tension. Now, if you ever are doing this, you're like, coach, how come I can't, keep that grip for a second, on the belt. So if you're here like, why can't I do, I can't get my position, he's holding onto my belt. Well, just create some more tension. Push with your knees, extend, use some oomph, and get into your position. So I always suggest to everybody, always start with some momentum. Don't just hold fire everything. We go back and forth, find the flow in the position, and then we attack. So bent side is going to drop. I kick and pull to break the grip, and then I'm going to square up by bending my other knee, foot plants, and then now I just have to slide my leg over top of his shoulder, elevating the hips, and we cross our feet. So for the finish, hips up, drop and cross, grab your shin on the inside of your leg. This grip here replaces this. So if he tries to posture now, he's still stuck. Foot to the hip, pivot and bite, lock, knees pinched together, hips up and pull. If you have thicker legs, you can crush. So again, this time from the feet. Again, most likely, we'll talk about this in the passing segment or video. If you are on top and someone puts you in spider, you should be on your feet immediately. Your power and reaction time to attacks is going to be much greater. So from here again, a little bit of movement, bent side drops, plant on the hip, foot goes right past his ear, elevate and bite, cross, grip, foot on the hip, pivot and bite, lock tight, knees, and pull for the tap. More from the other side. Now we'll go from the for the more quick fire way. So this is going to be based. It's going to be a bit more aggressive. So instead of going foot to the hip and then extending, which is still very, very fast, what we're basically going to do is just 1 foot up, 1 foot down, and just fire. So when I get to my position here, I break this grip. I'm just going to jump my hips, drop down, pivot and bite, lock it, and finish the tap. So essentially the two same techniques, just whether or not you plan on the hip first. Okay, so same thing, but now based on the failure of the momentum sweep or the scissor sweep. So what's his name? Romelu Bahal, I haven't said his name in a while. That uses this, actually we'll start from the knees. So we ended up here, knees, headquarters, whatever. So I attempted my first sweep, my basic sweep. So I go for my scissor sweep. The problem is sometimes he bases effectively, or what usually happens is that, again, I'm trying to drive him to this side. I'm blocking his base with his leg here. So what ends up happening is he breaks the grip. I lost my grip, or he just effectively plants. So now what I could do, you'd think that it makes sense to fire my triangle like this, but you can see the awkwardness. The angle is right for where I want to end up in a triangle. So the problem is that it's too far already. We're too late in the position. His ability to stack me here or turn out of it, he's too close to that. It becomes more awkward. So the foot's gonna go in the same place. So I try for my scissor sweep. The foot's gonna still go over, but what I'm gonna do is turn the opposite direction. I wanna re-square up essentially to make sure that I effectively trap his shoulder. And then it just takes a bit more time, but we're going to lock the position again. Now, if we do that based on the momentum sweep, it can be a bit more awkward, but usually the guy fumbles to get up a bit more. So like almost the fact that this sweep is harder to complete opens up the triangle more. So we have our momentum. I try, and then again, like he kind of falls. So now I just have to find the position. My foot drops below, my foot drops above, but don't fire from here, reaching. What I end up doing is turning back square. And then again, my finish. And that's your basic triangle. Okay guys, omoplata. So the omoplata from the spider guard is the triangle is pretty easy too, but the omoplata is really what will start to make you realize and feel just how powerful the spider guard is when you're fighting, you know, legs versus arms essentially. What I mean by this is that the range for the omoplata compared to say a closed guard omoplata, when we're in this position here, we're playing with like lapel grips and everything, like everything's very tight, which makes it good because there's less reaction for them, but it also hinders your movement. It's tight. Whereas the omoplata from spider guard, this range that I have, I can zone in and attack this arm so easily. So again, start everything with movement, but we'll just go right from here. My foot drops. I'm going to kick and pull, breaking the grip. And then now all I have to make sure I do is I don't go too shallow. So as I turn, I bury or pocket his grip, or pocket my grip. And I want to think about my calf sliding up his back, or my heel kicking him in the back of the head. Try not to actually do that. Or just think thigh to armpit. So as I turn here, I'm stepping on the far arm, and I cross that leg over to catch my omoplata. So I'll just go from this angle. So again, from here, I drop, I break and pull. So this foot here, if we just turn a bit more, this foot here is key. So I don't want to just go like this and then be all jammed up here and awkward. This bottom foot, I'm going to step, my knee goes high, that brings him down, breaking his posture, and it gives me a nice clear angle of attack for the omoplata. My grip doesn't need to change at this point because it was already where it needed to be. Now for the finish, that's where it changes. So the first basic finish, or the panic finish, or the no-gi finish. Lots of variations, of course, on how to finish subs, but when we catch the omoplata, usually in a tournament setting, or if guys are really quick, you need to sit up and wrap the back. But it's a very difficult position, as we all know, to actually finish. You get into that seesaw battle, and it's hard to break the guy's posture, or break the guy's base. So again, spider, I catch, and then as I'm rotating through, a lot of guys try and roll, or they try and posture up, so you end up triangling your legs, and you end up in this battle here. He postures up, he's strong, but now I'm strong, so I break him back down, and then we struggle, and he gets strong again, and then I get strong again, and then this may continue for a while, until eventually someone wins, or escapes. So the key thing here is that either I finish the sub by overpowering his shoulder, in which case, like, I'm just trying to sit up, I'm trying to drive the guy down, which is how a lot of omoplatas get finished, or what I'm trying to do is effectively break his base. So I have to remove myself from beside him, and then pull his hip into the gap that we just created. So the triangle is locked up. To keep control, my grip had switched from here to over the back, so I want some extra support. This free hand is controlling the elbow. And then from here, I'm basically constantly trying to force the guy down. As I sit up, I pull him over. So there's a lot of things happening there from a very unathletic position for me. And then eventually, for the finish, my knee has to be clear of his back, so I face away from him. It's not just hips up, and it's not just fold forward, it's both. Bring your chest towards the floor, and then roll the hip through. You remove him, so if you think about your gymnastica, some of your animal movements, from here. So I bring my chest down, and then I'm trying to roll the hip all the way through for the finish. Okay? So same catch. We end up turning actually, so we'll go here. Same catch, drop, kick and pull, step on the bicep as I punch and pocket the grip, and step across. Now from here, this I actually find to be quite faster and a lot smoother. The issue that you hit is that there's a moment when he could potentially step over because you're not immediately claiming that space with this hand. So what we're going to do is, we come back, is turn and face his butt. So when we go here, I'm going to this position. You can still lock, but now I'm in this much more, if you rotate your butt towards the camera, good. So we're in this position where I can actually deal with the source of his base. Okay, nice and strong, control his hip, grab his pant line, grab his gi, grab his belt, whatever's there. And then this bottom hand is being used to control his knee, the source of his base. So if he's a bit tight together, like Ian is now, I'm thinking about pulling towards me as I punch away from me. If he sets his knees wide, then I'm thinking about pulling towards me and extending his leg back. But all of this is in conjunction with a good, healthy butt sweep. Then, once he's down, I rotate and I finish. Do that again. Go from this side, we'll see if the angle works out. So obviously this could be occurring from the feet too. It's just that if the guy's on his feet, the chances of him, like very Nate Diaz, like to step out of the omoplata and use it as a pass is a little bit more likely. So again, rotate. So instead of fighting to sit up from here, I stay where I'm at and I go for his legs. So my upper body is facing his feet. I can always triangle, but it takes away my athleticism. Step, punch across on the ground line, pull towards me. And from here, really easy to overpower, guys. And then we adjust and finish. Those are our basic